I'm Logan Merriam, co-founder and head of product at RepOne, and I designed all the software we're going to be looking at today. But we're going to build a program in StrengthOS and see how athletes work out with it. And we'll start by looking at the StrengthOS program builder. The StrengthOS program builder is actually inspired by Excel, which was the software we saw coaches using most in the real world. So you can see we can kind of edit all the fields from the top level here. And we can easily duplicate and move anything that we want. So for example, if we wanted to reuse this entire session next week, we can duplicate it, move it very easily. So we took a lot of the power and flexibility that Excel provides and added structures around athletic programming. You can see we have our weeks and our sessions to program with. And we've even added some movements already, which are inside of these blocks here. So blocks are what we use to group and structure movements, and they tell the Workout Station app how to correctly guide athletes through their workout. So for example, in this standard block here, it's going to take athletes through all 3 sets of their bench press and then move on to the deadlift. Whereas in the superset block, it's going to do a set of squats followed by a set of the accessory work and then repeat the whole thing, just like you'd expect. So for each of the movements in the block, you're going to see some familiar fields. You can choose the movement itself, of course, so bench press here. You can also set the number of sets, reps, which can be either a number or as many reps as possible. And you can program load in percent, in kilograms, or pounds. If you choose percent, it's going to actually calculate the final number for the athlete based on their recorded 1 rep max, so they don't have to do any math while they're working out. So autoregulation is where things get really exciting. This is where you can set velocity targets to automatically individualize your program for each of your athletes. We can do weight or speed work here. Now, speed work autoregulation will only count sets that are at or above the target velocity we set, whereas weight autoregulation will count all sets that are in range. So we're going to choose weight, and you'll see that some new fields popped up here on the right to allow us to set our velocity ranges. So we have the option of auto-regulating on average velocity or peak velocity. And within that, we can break that down a bunch more. So we can auto-regulate on the minimum or the maximum of the set, on the last rep or the first rep, the average, peak end, and on velocity loss over the course of the set. And then last but not least, we have the target itself. So we have that set at 0.25. And then we've got a range of 0.025. That's an acceptable range for the set. All right, so now that we have our range set, you might have noticed that this max sets field popped up, and that allows us to cap the number of sets our athletes perform. So if we didn't set a cap, RepOne would keep adding sets until the athlete has done 3 sets in range. But in this example, we're programming for a college lacrosse team that only has an hour or so in the gym. So I'm going to keep the max sets at 3 here, which is going to guarantee that we're only going to do 3 sets no matter what. So now that we've got this first session set up, let's deploy this program to our athletes and see how they'll work out with it. I'm going to jump over to the scheduling view here. We made this program for the attackers on our lacrosse team, and we want to start it after their previous program ends, which we can easily see on the calendar here. So I'm going to click on the 16th to deploy and hit lacrosse attackers and done. And you can see now they've got this new program scheduled through March. I mean, you might have noticed we didn't actually fill out weeks 2 to 8 yet, but that's no problem. Now that we have scheduled this, I can actually go back into this program, update it at any point, and it's going to automatically propagate the changes to all of our athletes. Now we can open up the Workout Station app and see our program in action in the gym. So the Training Station app has 2 main sections. At the top here is the active set that's currently being tracked by the sensor. No athlete has started a movement yet, so that's still waiting for reps. Below, you can see that each athlete has their own workout card. And right now, of course, they're on their first set. So if I tap on the set name, I can see all the sets that we programmed for this session and quickly jump to any of them. Or if I go back, I can use the arrows on the top left of the card to navigate forward and backward in the session. So in this first set, you can see the programmed volume, and it also calculated load for each athlete based on their maxes. So as an athlete, I can load up my weights and hit start to begin tracking this first set. As I pull reps, you'll see the active set at the top giving us velocity feedback in real time. So based on all these fast reps I'm pulling, my starting weight probably wasn't enough. You also notice this countdown to the right that keeps resetting after every rep. That automatically ends the set when no reps have been registered for a while. As much as possible, we wanted to automate tracking like that because we think the best possible app is one that athletes interact with as little as possible. On that same note, if the next athlete begins lifting without choosing a set, we still track it, as you can see in the active set area. And then when it's done, the athlete can manually claim the set from the history, so we never lose data. So here's the cool part. Let's say everyone did their first set and it's time for bench press number 2. When we go to start that set now, the training app is telling us to increase load, just like you'd expect from all those fast reps we pulled earlier. If I'm the athlete, now I can go add weight to the bar and then go in and update the load on this set really easily. So now as each athlete continues their session, it's going to monitor their performance and update their load in response. So we made one program, but with StrengthOS, it effortlessly turns into a separate, individualized program for each of our athletes, which is the power of an automated training system like StrengthOS.